This is a review for the HiVi, HiVi SP10. It's a 4 ohm single voice coil 10-inch subwoofer. P max is 1,000. That it can take 1,000 RMS, but what it was designed for was the Sunfire TruSub replacement, and so it's basically a very good copy of the original that was designed and produced by TC Sounds. So does it? Yeah, just a single voice coil. Looks like it uses a little bit of a spider spacer. There's no venting underneath. Some of the Sunfires would vent right here, and then you can also, of course, vent down here, so that way the air that's underneath the spider gets vented out to the atmosphere. Otherwise, it's got to come out the butthole. So it's got twin 1-inch slugs, no holes for venting here. It's got a little screen in there. I don't know if you can see it. And then the bottom plate is kind of thick. It doesn't need to be this thick, but I think it was meant to, again, look really, really similar. In fact, a better looking version of the original that was designed and done by TC Sounds. So the front, of course, is that classic look. This is actually a dust cap. It's foam. It's reinforced with something. Some of them are reinforced with like MDF. Some use other materials, I'm not sure. The best ones have an inner cap on them that is a dome, convex, and then the part that meets in the middle, they either epoxy or use some sort of double-sided tape to keep this from vibrating, keep the outer cap from vibrating. So foam surround, looks like I think it's a 38 millimeter, if I remember right, on the specs for the cone. But it can handle 1,000 RMS. You got to remember that the Sunfire plate amplifiers do not do the 2800 that Bob Carver wrote in a white paper, which I thought was kind of misleading. If you look at the fuse rating, it's a really easy way to look at it. Or even on the back information, it says consumption. So it's not going to consume any more than 5 amps worth of current. Some of the old ones, I don't even think they fused. I don't even think the original ones didn't even have a transformer inside. They were just using straight line voltage and then rectifying it so that you'd have up to 220 volts DC or thereabouts, about 200 volts DC. And then it was just a Class AB amplifier. It wasn't Class D or anything like that. And presto, you find some devices that handle 250 volts, maybe higher. And basically you're doing a BTL amplifier, push-pull, because you already have the built-in push-pull signal, which is 110 volts. No, oh yeah, it would just be 110 volts, peak to peak, because you just plug it into a wall. But with a 5 amp consumption that you're talking about, it consumes only 500 watts-ish. So those things don't do 2,800 watts. I think that was the point that I was getting to. Wanted to show you some of the packing materials. This particular one came from Parts Express. This is the top plate that fits on it. I think this is a little bit elaborate and expensive. I think you could do the whole thing definitely with styrofoam, which is what they did. Styrofoam insert. And then it does a cutout. This should actually be carpet coated, which it is. Oh, that was good. Felt to keep the magnet from flopping around. And then this is MDF, and then a box, and then of course you would put this in another box. Technically with UPS you need 4 inches of foam on all sides, but I don't think Parts Express did all that. So as long as it survived, it survived. But I think Tilo wouldn't ship these individually. He would have shipped them by the pallet to wherever they were doing assembly. And I'd love to know where they did assembly for the True Sunfire subwoofer, where they did production. Again, it would just be an assembly house. They probably got the amps from China anyway. Made in China. D42 made in China. My PC is down right now. Here it is. 297460. That might be the part number for Parts Express. And then somebody's, I don't need to give his information out. Gross weight is like 20 kilos. HiVi SP10 10-inch subwoofer made in China. So, but yeah, what's really great about this is basically what this is this is the same motor, which is dual 1-inch slugs, used on the original Orion HCCA 15D, which came out in 1998, and it was the upgraded version of the TC9. Later, when I talked to Tilo during the buyout back in 07, he was reintroducing this motor and the TC912 and I think a TC915. I think I showed you guys on the archive. But he called this the TC9 motor, and I said, well, I thought the TC9 motor was the original with dual 3/4 inch slugs, and he just like, it's a TC9 plus. And so, and because that's what he did with the TC2. I don't think he did an upgraded TC7. Originally, I've seen some labels on this motor called the TC11, which again, it's a little bit different than the Orion HCCA version. It has a different backplate. It has a little bit of a vent to it. In fact, I think I got one. Hang on real quick. So it's a little crusty, but this is the Orion HCCA 12D from, this is the first series, so it's probably from like 98, 99. And then I think in 2000 they went with the poly cap. And then Bob Speck started producing them in China because they could make more money getting them made in China instead of by Tilo. And so rubber surround. This cone I think is from, I want to say New Way, but I think I remember Ryan Boland's of Land Cruiser Extremo. And what's that? No, yeah, he also does Boland's. Is it Boland's Audio? I don't know what he called it. I forgot. Sorry. But he said he got them from Holly. So, but I think Holly has shut their doors. I got to talk to Eminence again. Maybe Eminence picked up the tooling or just the product. Also, I can check New Way. The other one that I'm checking with right now is Springfield Speaker Repair out of Missouri. But all they do is buy surplus. They don't produce anything that I know of. Usually there's enough surplus, and that's why I've been able to survive without having to really go to China for much. And as you can see, the profile, this is dual 20 millimeter, also known as 3/4 inch slugs. And then as you can see, bumped back plate. They really just start with the bigger back plate and then they trim off to make it look cool. They could keep it on there and it'd be all big and chunky, and then this was the different version. This one ends up being a little more shallow than this version. Let's see, did they vent underneath this one too? Nope. So like I said, sometimes, I don't know who the vendor was, maybe it was Tilo, would vent underneath the spider landing. So, which is what I like to do. And this version, they actually fixed the terminals. So positive is on the left like it's supposed to be. I think the original version, they got it mixed up and then Tilo had to keep that up for the rest of the production run. And then this is just a Mylar decal. So you can see the silver underneath. That's the Mylar. And then the rest of this is just like, I think, is it screen printing? I don't know how those are made. I'd love to know how. Maybe I can watch a video on it. It's got a little bit, oh, and it's got the screen on it. Again, I don't like the screen. I take those off. And Tilo used to do just a, what's it called? Clear nickel, or is it nickel? No, zinc. Clear zinc finish. This one uses a, looks like a polished, no, this is chrome. I want to see what a polished steel, but a clear zinc with polished chrome or polished steel would look like as well. And I'm getting some samples made of the regular, the standard 3 HP with the regular 36 millimeter top plate produced. There's some stuff that I wanted to do for Orion, but they don't want me, so I'll just have to do it on my own and basically pick up the slack of where TC Sounds used to produce and then fill that gap in for a lot of their old legacy products like these. So boot on the Orion HCCA, non-branded, so that way it could fit for multiple brands. A lot of times brands like Orion would do that. This is because, again, this is all off-the-shelf stuff from TC Sounds. And then I found the vendor for this one, which is American. They produced for JL Audio and a couple other brands. The original company ended up going bankrupt. And then I bought a long time from the guys that bought the tooling. And then they had some health issues and they sold out to somebody else. And now I deal with that guy. And hopefully he still got the tooling because he got the whole machine, but he doesn't really use that for what he manufactures. So, but you know, it came with basically the machine came with a small client list. I think it's only like 15 clients that he still produces for, and he makes parts for them. So we're going to be booting that back up. Again, I want to do Made in the USA as whenever is possible, because like this tariff thing and all that kind of stuff. And we don't know if Trump's going to be president for the rest of his life. So it's important to be prepared. Lastly, on this one, this is the gloss. I don't know if you can see that. It's like a hammered, textured maybe finish. I got to reproduce that. I like that. Personally, I like the glossy smooth better. And we may offer that as a version as well. I would just like to have those in stock anyway. But sometimes people want original. And when we reproduce this, I cannot put the decal on it because then that would make it official. So we got to just include that for free. And then I think, yeah, and then we can't put the dust cap on it. Again, we just give that to you for free as a donation to you. And then you can put it on. So you're the troublemaker making copies, not us, not me. So, but anyways, that's the review on this. Today we have the live stream. It's Sunday, 6 p.m. Arizona time. I hope to see you guys there if you have any questions. I'm setting up the test bench now. I got a nice little power supply that I picked up for cheap. I picked up that Hafler amp that I want to test out. And then it's just amps to see which ones are good, which ones are bad. If anybody wants to buy the bad ones, please let me know. I think there's a couple of people that have already hit me up for amp repairs. Oh, Erica can repair amps. She's up in Northern California. And then for testing, I got thanks to Josh Pastrana, one of the 60 amp Ostron power supplies that I'm going to use for bench testing and do the woofer pornography that you guys like. I still have Pete's Pyramid power supply, which I think is good for 50 amps. That one's going to be out in the garage. And it's real humid out there today because it rained yesterday. And so I think I'm actually going to put an air conditioner out there and insulate the whole shop and then run the air conditioner off of solar. So that way it doesn't drain. But I just wanted to show you that. This is, again, it's a HiVi, HiVi. I'm not sure if that, because again, brand doesn't really exist in China. But I can hit them up and find out what they want for pricing and what's called the MOQ, which is the minimum order quantity, and see if we can just start bringing these in like batches of 50 or 30 or something like that, and then offering a as good original as original as possible version. The only thing I would probably improve is the tinsel leads. This one, yeah, they just do the sky wires, float them in there. Some of the you guys have seen. What's funny is when I've done these terminals for Sunfire people, they don't like them. They don't like the push terminal because the inside of the Sunfire enclosure uses just little spades, and which I find hilarious because these are so much better. They provide constant pressure, etc., etc. But those guys, they have a certain skill set, and cutting off the spade terminals to reveal bare wire and then putting them in a pressure terminal seems to be beyond their reach. And so I would have to import the version that uses like a spade terminal. That's all. And then the original TC Sounds ones, they used like rubber tubing in here to hold the leads, because they didn't have these tabbies back then. I don't know if you could see that tab. They probably did. I don't know if TLO didn't want to use them. I know I've had problems on this frame of them touching. So like I wouldn't use this spacer. I would use this as a spider clamp, but they actually used it as a spacer, and it probably uses 2 spiders, really soft spiders. And then typically it was filled with the one that TLO designed was a bifiliar. It ended up being single 4 ohm, but it was basically 2 8 ohm coils wired in parallel. I assume that he did that because at the time they didn't have that gauge of copper wire that he needed. Otherwise, in this gap, and the replacement coil that I use is that quad 1 ohm that I got from Concept. I really like using that one for this gap. And the gap has changed a little bit over the years, depending on who was the producer of it. And I think they experimented a little bit with the proper shim. But again, the original TC Sounds design, I think, is the best, which, if I remember right, uses a 3/4 millimeter shim, and just a really good American-made coil. The original TC9 coil is like, I think, 35 to 40, maybe 45 millimeter tall, wine height, all copper. And then, of course, the D2, that's what the Orion HCCA series at the time only came in dual 2. And so, again, you can wire it in series, parallel, whatever you want to do. But I think that was it. Good review, good product. And again, I want to bring in a version of this for myself. I don't want to get into it right now because there's a lot of cool secret shit that I want to do with it. And then I'm hoping to get it picked up by Cicada for my series. So, because I want to do like I don't want to say a signature series, but I want to do a line that promotes a movie that I've already written. I just need to get it produced, but I want the brand to go along with the movie. So when the movie company buys the script, they also buy the brand, and then that's where they pay me to supervise all that shit and make sure that the equipment looks the way it's supposed to, and then comes in the way it's supposed to. But that's I don't know if you ever watch Saving Sarah Marshall, the guy that wrote that one. That's sometimes how you get in the movies now, is you just cast yourself. So, but he wrote it, and then he put himself in it, and it was hilarious. I love it. And but you just can't write a script anymore and just go, here's your script. You got to produce and direct and do a bunch of other stuff. You got to bring value. So, but again, I'd rather just produce the whole thing myself, but I'm not in a position to do that right now. But we'll stick to speakers right now. And just a little peek, there's the Wolfram that has a bad coil. But I'm just going to put it in a box and use it the way it is. So if it's like a dual 2, I'm going to sell it as a single 2 with a 2 ohm optimized amplifier. A lot of the DI series from Recoil would be great for that, especially like the DI 1200.1. So 1200 watts RMS at 2 ohm to a single 2 ohm coil in a box. You're talking about a killer setup, and then we do it for real cheap. So love you guys. I will see you later tonight.